Welcome back to Learncity. But before we move to what we are going to talk about today, or what is going to be our major focus for today's class, basically, let's have a quick recap on what we did in the last section. Very well, for those who followed up on our section, you remember that we started with a classroom management. We divided the section into three, divided what a classroom is, a class is, a classroom, then a classroom management. But we talked about what classroom management is. We looked at the advantages and a particular disadvantage of classroom management, which you can turn into an advantage of a classroom management. We looked at the categories of classroom management. We talked about the primary, the pre-primary, the primary, the middle class, the middle school, the high school. We looked at things that may cause or will lead to why a classroom management is needed in each of these categories. Well, we're able to talk about the reason why we need classroom management in the pre-primary side and the primary. Now for today's class, we'll be moving to middle school. So now let's start with what we have for today, middle school. In middle school, the problem of class management has to do more with the student's behavior. Now we are moving from what the teacher or the reason why a classroom management is needed. But in the middle school, we are looking at the student's behavior than any other thing else, because actually children are emotionally vulnerable. Like you're wondering why a 5 years old reacts in a particular way. I'm like, when did they give birth to this one? Like, the reaction you get are reactions of people that are older. Some of the challenges that middle school teachers have to manage include the academic pressure. Now, talking about the academic pressure, in the middle school, academics really start piling up due to increasing number of subjects. Now you look at it that in your primary school, you have less subjects for you to do. You have your basic subjects, yes, your maths, your English, your fine arts, cultural arts, all those minor subjects. But by the time you move to middle school, there are a lot of other subjects that you get exposed to. Now talking about other subjects, you have your basic science, you have your basic technology, you have biology, you have other things that you are exposed to. Now, school academics really start piling up due to increasing number of subjects as well as in-depth coverage of these topics. Now, they are not topics that you are used to. The topics that you are just being exposed to, and it's a major problem or a major thing that the teacher has to be able to manage. Now, these are also the formative years when teachers must lay emphasis on laying foundations for most of the subjects. Now, you're starting the middle school from your GSS 1. What you start learning from GSS 1 is the foundation of what you will learn in that same subject in GSS 2 is what you will also learn in the same subject in GSS 3. Now it is the teacher's work to be able to lay a solid foundation on most of these subjects. Now they have to deal with the rest of their lives, so you should have enough room in your classroom management plan to spend more time on complex topics. Now, remember when we were talking about the classroom management, how you should be able to create time for open discussions. Now, do not say because you've made plans on this is how my class is going to do. This is how my class is going to go rather. We'll start from the definition, move to the advantages, move to the disadvantages. Remember one thing I said in the last section, that you should be able to divide your class into different groups. Let them brainstorm. Let them think about the topic you're about to expose them to or the topic you've exposed them to. Now pick a leader from each group to explain what do you understand. At that way, you'll be able to know if truly you've impacted knowledge or you've successfully done justice to that particular topic. Yes, like I said, you should have enough room in your classroom management plan to spend more time on complex topics. Another thing is the onset of negative emotions. Now, during middle school years, children start to feel negative emotions like disappointment, rejection, low self-esteem. Now, you could find a nurse that right from primary school, she wears glasses and the glasses makes her look like this bookworm person, but she also wants to be able to mix with her mates. But she begins to find this low self-esteem, like, okay, if I talk to this person, how would this person react? Or maybe she does this. If you watch high school movies very well, you know all those group of girls that are like they are rich, and then there's another set that they don't really have money, like the middle class. Then you have another set that maybe they came to the school through scholarships, yeah. So they can't mix with those that my father is paying billions of naira. You came on scholarship level, we should not be on the same level. You understand what I'm trying to say? So they begin to face disappointment, begin to face rejection, begin to face low self-esteem. And as a teacher, you must explain to them that one success or one failure does not define them. Now, you failed the first time or you are succeeding the first time does not define you. Now, let me give this quick story. I remember when I was preparing for my JAMB and post-UTM lesson, I had this mindset, the notion of, oh, I am going to study communication and language arts. Like, I wanted to be a media person. I needed to talk. Like, this is what I want to do now. I love talking. So that is what I wanted to go and study in university. And I did my JAMB. Good girl like me, because my mom has warned me, if you fail, you will sell pure water and pay for it. I'm like, fine girl, I will sell pure water. God forbid. So I studied and I was ready to make sure that I was going to pass my JAMB. Well, good enough, I passed my JAMB. And when it was time for post-UTM, now the cutoff mark for post-UTM for the course I wanted to study was 65. I had 60. I said, Lai, I am going to go back and do this thing. I went back because I had the determination. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this again. I wrote JAMB again, scored higher mark. And when it was time for post-UTM, I scored 65. I was happy that, okay, giri, 65 for cutoff mark for communication language art last year. And also the same thing. But unfortunately, when I got to school, the cutoff mark was 70. And 2 years. Am I ready to wait another year? Well, I had two options. My parents were not allowing me to go to a polytechnic school. So they're like, oh, since you like talking, then go to a media school instead. And I'm like, media school? My mates are going to university, I'll go to media school. No. So I got to UI and they said, oh, okay, you can come do a change of course. I did a change of course, but I didn't allow the fact that I had failed my post-UTM twice to be a determinant factor for me. Fine, I changed my course, but on the other hand, after changing my course, I was able to do the course I changed to and my communication and language art side by side. Now I have two honors. I have B.Ed and B.A. Interesting. Imagine if I decide to relax that because I failed my post-UTM twice, and then I'll just allow that to be a determinant factor for me and say that's the reason why I'm not going to invest anymore, or I'm going to the media school, spend 2 years and learn how to learn, and I don't have passion for what I'm doing. But that's what I'm just trying to say, that one success or one failure does not define them. Now, if you fail to handle this, you might have a class of half euphoric and half sullen students to teach. Like, some people would be eager. Some of your students will be eager to learn. Others will just be, I'm just coming to school because I'm coming to school. I'm just in class because I'm in class, because I just have to be in class. There's no way I'm going to go to. My parents are bringing me to school, that one picking me up. So I'm just there, literally filling up the attendance sheets. So the teacher has to be able to explain to the students. Now, you don't leave learning alone for the parents. They learn at home and also come to school to learn. Now, incorporate some time in your plan to talk to your students about these emotional issues. And if the need be, refer them to counseling. Yes, there's some times where it's going to be more than you. It's going to be more than the load or more than what you expect, basically. There's sometimes when what the student is facing is more than what you can handle. There are students in middle school, talk about public schools, that face emotional abuse or face harassment. Now, they would want to stay in their safe space because they don't trust anybody at that moment. Now, it is your duty as a teacher, when you notice such, to refer them to a counselor. Now, a counselor has their ways. go into the students and make them talk, because whatever you discuss with your counselor stays with your counselor. And the reason why there should be classroom management in the middle school is bullying. There are some students who are being bullied. They're bullied. Like, after pre-primary, this is the age where new bullies crop up in every class. Like, due to emotional vulnerability, some children are prone to being bullied, while others review in bullying. Like, bullying must be stopped immediately. We will deal with this. We'll look at this, the bullying. Like, it's actually a big topic on its own. So we're just going to like look at it now and then dive into it fully, probably in our next chapter. Like, when I'm talking about bullying, there are people who just find interest, they just find that pleasure. And if you talk to those that bully students or bully their fellow students, or their fellow students basically, when you talk to them and you ask them why they bully, sometimes it is because of low self-esteem. They feel, okay, I'm going through some things, I don't want anybody to come into my space, and the only way they can bring out the anger is to bully other students. We should not. So we should try to eliminate bullying in class. As a teacher, once you notice any form of bullying, try to eliminate it. So this will bring us to the end of today's section. Remember that in today's class, we looked at the reasons why classroom management is needed in middle school. Yeah, we looked at bullying, we looked at low self-esteem, and many others. Now we would want to end today's class, and I hope you are able to pick 1 or 2 points on why classroom management is needed in this particular category. See you next class.